What is going on, Cowboy Nation? Good people in the chat. Welcome back to Primetime Studios. Like always, I'm Primetime Phil, and I'm excited and probably still stuff from the Thanksgiving meal a couple of days ago. Didn't do any Black Friday shopping, but I work on the Cyber Monday and do that kind of shopping myself. So I am still stuffed because it was an amazing Thanksgiving, and what made it even better was, of course, the dessert of the Dallas Cowboys winning. And wasn't the greatest victory in the world, a division game. You don't know whether it's sloppy, take a coin toss, whether it was sloppy play, bad on our side, great on the Giants side, playing up to the competition, us playing down the competition. Just so many different variables. But I know one variable that stays the same, and that is my co-host, GameTime Bryan. What's going on, Bryan?
Primetime Phil, everybody. How was everybody's Thanksgiving? I know mine was great, especially after that Cowboy win, man. It was a little rough in the first half, but we started rolling. We were eating just fine, right? We were eating good. I'm doing good, Phil. How you doing?
Oh, man. I am kind of happy that I didn't have to do one yesterday because I was kind of just, again, I was feeling pretty okay, what's the word I'm looking for? Just really,
lethargic.
just dragging a little bit. Just, they say the turkey thing is a myth, but I really feel something there. You know, I was pretty full. Well, had people over.
Yeah, that's good. That's what it's
people
about.
Teasing
Mine was more quiet. I had the in-laws over, my three boys. It was quiet, which was good. I was up early. I smoked the turkey. I got up at 4, had the turkey and then smoked her by 4:30. Was able to get a nap for like an hour and a half or so.
He's taking naps in the middle of Thanksgiving.
I think I pulled the turkey about 1, usually about a half hour.
So what time do you take your naps?
Like a 17-pound turkey. I took it like 6 a.m.
Okay.
And once I got it in, I was able to fall back asleep.
That's continuing sleep. That's for most people. So let's could go into the chat real quick. Angelica Barone was here earlier. I appreciate you, Jack Meeker. What's going on, Jack? Roland Review, Stacy. Stacy, I appreciate you. You're always here. I always try to jump on hers as well. She got some great trivia going.
Yeah, I need to put her. What I need to do with hers is put it on notify. Because by the time I realize, normally it's too late. It's normally on Sundays, right? Or did
yes,
you move it?
Yes.
Yeah. It's probably better now because before.
Oh, she's been doing some good stuff.
Marks,
there.
I never make marks anymore because that's normally. But I'm normally up at 4 a.m. on Saturday morning, so I'll get a nap when I get home, and then getting up at 5 is rough sometimes. That's why you'll see me on Marks Live. I'm like a zombie, but that's the only way I can do it.
So as we continue on, we
here.
got Joe Gonzalez and Mike Aldana, of course. Let's see, we got Brooklyn.
Best rapper alive. We the
Brooklyn
best.
Joe is in here. Put us on and the mute on the game. I really appreciate that as well. Just a lot of great people with great insight. I mean, a lot of people knew.
Well, we talked about it, Phil. Once we get a following where we can actually get monetized, we're doing it now just for the love. There ain't nothing in it for us other than the love of the game. And once we get monetized, we could actually add all the fun stuff, the giveaway.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm just
do more lives. I'm not gonna bump somebody else or go live during the game,
Yeah, I don't want to compete against some of those guys. Those guys,
But once we get monetized, it's
all for
watch us both, right?
Exactly. I know. And logging off last time, Mary Alvarez actually bought us a beer, and I didn't see it until after I logged off, and I was like, "Oh,
I don't know how
Mary.
that works, man. I don't even see any of that. That's why I like."
Yeah, I saw it on my. It gives me an alert. I still don't have everything connected, but I saw the alert afterwards because I was so into the conversation that we're going about the Giants, about this matchup, about. Where we thought, hey, man, if they come out from the week before and just kind of turn it on like they did against Minnesota, hey, this is going to be a long day for the Giants. But, hey, we knew that wasn't probably going to be the happen. I mean, if they continue and but we all knew about the consistency. Can they stay consistent? I mean, the one thing they've been pretty consistent about and kind of trying to break the pattern is the penalties. And you saw that creep up with 13 penalties, the highest they've had all season. 2 turnovers by Dak Prescott with some, hey, whether people are going to believe that, it's his fault, not his fault, wide receivers, whatever the deal, there was 2 turnovers. All these things are happening, and the fact is the talent shined. The defense shined and still kept this Dallas team in the game. and allowed them to kind of finally get their feet out underneath them and kind of start, getting on a roll. And so that's what, that's the nice thing about having a defense like this, is that when your offense stumbles, it's not like last year where you feel like you have to come back by 20 something points, because all of a sudden, by the time you did get your shit together, you're catching, you're trying to catch up. Now you got the defense that once you start getting it going, now you're just running your game plan and you're just hoping that Kellen Moore isn't running reverses to lose a whole bunch of yards, no matter who you're reversing it to. So there's a lot to say about this game, but overall, I mean, I'm happy we were able to break the streak of the Cowboys losing on Thanksgiving. Wasn't the prettiest thing in the world, but hey, I'm happy with the victory. What about you, Brian?
Yeah, well, my thing is, we can't look at the first half. Yeah, we can all get frustrated, but not really. It's a divisional game. After I went back and watched it again, kind of fast forwarded, which is kind of cool, just to blow through all the stoppages. It really, the first half wasn't as bad as I originally perceived. Remember, you got to realize we're watching the game live. We go into halftime, we're losing. We have all this, oh my God, what's going to happen? And the third quarter on, like it's been, which is really a good sign for a really good team, that you go into halftime, you make adjustments, and we rolled the second half.
Yeah, I mean, when I look,
not any indication.
Yeah, so when I look at that game,
it wasn't that bad.
That good luck charm right there, and I think we need to bring back, is a terrible performance by the Jonas Brothers. Hopefully, that's our good luck charm, and that kind of got us going. He's like, "Hey, man, you thought we performed bad? Like, that was bad." So I think we can be. If they can be bad, we can be bad. You good too? Yeah. So our running game.
How about our running game? Zeke looked.
Yeah, Zeke was eating.
Old. And Pollard did his thing.
That's what I like. I like the fact that you're giving it to both of them, and you're allowing them to do their thing, and one of them each week is going to shine. Sometimes, if you're lucky, both of them will shine. But the fact is, the different styles of running, it definitely attacks defenses differently, and then you kind of shows. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was looking at some of the numbers, and the Giants played a defense where they were manning up across the board on our receivers. When Zeke ran the ball, 58%, I think it was 58% of the time, Zeke was running against an 8-man box.
Yeah.
So
he was
think
bringing
of that.
Yeah.
They had 8 men in the box, and he was still gashing them, as well as Pollard. But the numbers I saw were when Zeke was carrying the ball, he could have easily have had 100 yards, but they didn't need him to. Thank God Pollard's there. This is why, especially with the 17-game season, you need 2 guys. I would love for them to bring both of them back. Everybody says it's not going to happen. I wouldn't be too sure
I can see it happening.
That Pollard will not be back. But Zeke ran the ball with 8-man boxes. They were going singling up, which is a little bit curious as to why Kellen did some of the things he did. I'm still not a Kellen Moore fan. He had a good game against the Minnesota Vikings, but everybody had a good game against the Minnesota Vikings. What I'm a little worried about, if we get OBJ, if we get him, you know how we do all these combination routes where the quarterback and the receiver have to be on the same page. How's that going to be with a new receiver coming in now, heading into the stretch run?
Just like it is with the old receivers, I think, because it's not the greatest. But as you're talking about. But as you're talking about these receivers, Brooklyn Joe mentions CD and Gallup were beasts. Was finally able to not think about Amari for once, and I agree, man. They were coming up with some balls. I mean, they were battling. Gallup was looking good. He's not getting the separation, but he never really got a lot of separation. No, I don't think he ever really did either. I think he always just got it at the right moment.
It's more about him being a physical, attacking the ball, strong hand. Saw all that, and I don't know if you saw the numbers with CeeDee Lamb. Everybody wants to complain, and listen, we watch the game. We know he drops an occasional ball. His numbers this year, he's way ahead of AJ Brown, Mr. Number 1 in Philly. Sorry, that's a fact. Look at the numbers. Got more catches, way more yardage. AJ Brown won't catch him this week. Even if he has a 100-yard receiving game, he's ahead of AJ Brown. So if AJ Brown's a number one, then why isn't why isn't our guy number one when you had a backup quarterback for 5 weeks? Think about that. So, City's getting better and better.
One thing I laughed real quickly is Angelica Brown says, "What the hell was that with Jalen's move with his dropped elbow from the?" I saw that move too.
Glimmerman's in the house.
Yeah.
Exactly, Glimmerman. We were very close to the final score. I had 34-13, and it was.
That's what I had.
28-13 at one point.
I thought one more touchdown. I was like, we're gonna be close. And then it was a garbage touchdown on the other side. I was like, man, I think that kind of proves it that when you have the chance, even don't worry about feelings. Just score the touchdown, drive there, score the touchdown. Don't make it into it. I think they were trying to be conservative that last drive, and not push buttons or do. I don't know what it was, but it just allowed them to kind of just give the Giants the ball back, them drive down. They knew there was nothing going to happen by the time they did that garbage touchdown at the end. But they just wanted to make it seem like it was closer than what it was. But that beginning half, man, a lot of the stuff snuck up on us. The inconsistency. Remember when we were talking about how they looked at Green Bay and then how they looked at Minnesota? Well, you saw the same thing on the first half compared to the second half, it seemed like. Two different teams.
It's getting old. It's getting old, but listen. After I rewatched it, they were able to run the ball. They were able to move. Some of the pass plays early, and only one of the interceptions was really on Dak. The other one was not really on Dak. Regardless, my one pet peeve. I don't know if anybody else is saying it, but why in the hell did we go for it on fourth down? That's a sign of a desperate team that's not as good as the other team. Why would we do that? We went for it on our own 38-yard line or 35-yard line. 4th and 2. I didn't get that call at all. Hunt the ball, play good defense, and we're good. Why would we do that?
Analytics.
It just opened up the game for the Giants.
Yeah, I agree.
I understand that, Phil.
I don't understand a lot of the moves right there. But one thing that you can keep, I think the biggest theme that goes around all those crazy ass moves is that you can rely on the defense to kind of clamp down. I mean, you can't. I think sometimes we rely too much on that defense, and that's the reason why we put them in those situations. They get tired, and that's why you'll see some of those games. But when you can compliment them and keep them off the field and let your two running backs that are doing crazy shit do their thing, and compliment them with a guy like Malik Davis. What was the other guy? I'm trying to think of the other one. There was another guy that they had brought in, but he was on the practice squad. But anyways, you just do that. Continue your running game. They kind of show they
Ito?
Just what's that last year? Yeah. But either way, I mean,
Ito Smith,
I mean, they have the tools there. This running, the offensive line looks great when they run. You guys mentioned it last hour. Tyler Smith, what do you think about his performance? Obviously, you saw him kind of struggle a little bit, but
I see him struggling when they just forget about him and assume he's good. It seems like young speed rushers, can get him a little bit. I mean, you would think he would know him. I'm sure he's played against Thibodeau, right? Mm-hmm. But like Thibodeau definitely got the better of him. That's just more of an example of, I think you have to go tiring until he hurts himself. And then, but I think that's what you do. You go Tyron and stick him out on the edge because very few people beat Tyron. I mean, he's not as good as he once was, but he's definitely
one of the best. Exactly.
Yeah. So he struggled a little, but it wasn't horrible. It wasn't like, oh my God. He had a couple penalties. It wasn't as good a game, but their run blocking was still stellar. It was really good. It was when they got into passing situations, and
Liverman might be right. Liverman points out, he goes, Tyler is probably tired. He's not used to the NFL season. And there might be some truth there. But as we're talking about this offensive line, one thing that we can talk about is the tight ends. Man, what did we talk about? We talked about how we thought the tight ends were definitely going to get involved in this game. And, man, their stamp was all over this game. along with the running backs. Of course, when the running backs do their thing, that means the tight ends are feeding them. That means they're doing their stuff, blocking. The wide receivers, they were doing their thing. But I think a lot of it, again, the tight ends with their little whack-a-mole celebration, which I really, really liked. But yeah, man, I really liked how they were doing. I liked they were slipping out. I love that.
That was fun.
The Ferguson jump over.
Yeah.
Well,
I saw fans of other teams. Let's put it that way. I don't know exactly what fan of a team they are. I could guess that they were an Eagles fan, but I wasn't sure. Saying this is why we hate the Cowboys because they all gotta hop in the kettle and play whack-a-mole, playing up to the cameras. Really, it's bringing recognition to
it gives donations and stuff.
A foundation that's been around forever and it helps so many people. Is that a bad thing? Is that really a bad thing? And they were having a little bit of fun. Can we not have some fun? It used to be the no fun league, and then they lightened up. I don't think they're going to get fined for that. There's a reason why they put the kettles. Remember, the last couple of years, they didn't have the kettles on the field. Mm-mm. They put 2 on either end zone. And me and my son were watching the game. I think
after that TOTD, where he donated the ball into it. And I think after that one, kind of, it's kind of, had its own little thing. And I like it. I like when they involve that and stuff.
Worst things out there. Nobody's hiding cell phones and goalpost pads. Remember that one? Mm-hmm. That's ridiculous.
The Sharpie in the thing to sign the ball and they got kind
of a little much. That's planning process. Something that's once a year. You got to score a touchdown. You don't want us to jump in a kettle, then don't let it score.
There's a lot of truth there, man. But one thing that I honestly say when I was thinking that defense was going to really have to focus on the running game, and obviously the O-line having a lot of guys out, I think that affected how the running game could get going for the Giants. But man, Barkley was not a factor, and honestly, as much as he does have his moments, he's not. There's certain running backs that I've seen through the careers as they're I'm going to go with Westbrook for the Philly. Every time he kind of played us, he was just tearing us up and just getting chunks and chunks of yardage. And that I always thought Barkley was going to kind of be that guy that was going to do that to us. I mean, he's kind of slashed us here and there, but he's never been an amazing career that he's had against us. So I think that's why I don't fear those as much. But the fact that our running game defense wasn't going in with the greatest feelings, they still did an amazing job. And of course, you got to take it with a grain of salt because obviously they're backups when it comes to the line. So take it though because they are NFL players and they do line up, they do get paychecks and stuff. So it's not our job to give them their backups or starters or anything. So. But
looking at some of the chat, we got Glimmerman because JJ wants you to go for it on 4th. He was mad at JG or not. Yeah, that's true.
Being aggressive, yeah. There was a lot of times where, Jason Garrett was very conservative.
Barkley got 30 yards. Jack Meeker, or Rundy is better than people try. Yeah, Jack, it's not really our tackles. That's the beauty of the whole thing. Our D tackles is not the problem. It's when they run to the edges and our ends get undisciplined and they collapse inside to try and get the sack, exposing the edges. As you know, we play with a lot of nickel or D-backs. So what's one thing that D-backs don't normally like to do or do well?
Tackle.
And that's tackle.
Do windows.
Let's
do dishes.
And there's a bunch here. It's hopping tonight.
Sorry, I've been really focused on what I was going to say with these games. So I've been kind of. I mean, and that's the truth.
Brooklyn Joe, Zeke on 4th down should have been a crack toss. They were waiting for him up the middle.
I agree.
I didn't like that call.
I agree,
especially where we were on the field, and it wasn't like it was a half a yard or a yard. It was 2 yards. That was a bit much.
Yeah,
that seemed like a desperate move when we were clearly the better team. Punt the ball. But that's me. You get to some of that.
No. I was right there. I mean, Brooklyn Joe's first one was the one that I got. But yeah, I mean, you're talking about they're talking a lot about the tight end play, and it's nasty. It's feeling really good. I mean, you take that, unfortunately,
what up?
Schultz. I mean, yeah, I mean, great job for you, and I feel great that you feel comfortable within this offense. But at the same time, like I want to use that money that you walk out the door and go find your thing as we get a draft pick from whoever picks you up.
Phil.
I want to pick that. I want to take that money and put it towards Pollard. You know, I don't want to. I don't want to.
Next year, Phil, we got them all now. Yeah, like last year. Remember, this is our all in. We're stacked. This is why you have to go get OBJ this year.
I agree.
You don't want to not. That's because you don't want to not get the job done this year and go, well, what if we did it? That's why you make the move. Am I guaranteeing that OBJ is going to get the job done?
No distraction.
Hell no.
Yeah.
But if we don't make it and we don't get there, you're always going to say, well, what if? Not for anything other than the third down or that clutch play. You had that one extra player as opposed to Noah Brown, who can't get off a release sometimes.
Well, I mean, and you
You'll
think
get
about
a guy
that.
who can run a route.
Exactly, and you think about that third down. You know, do you feel comfortable by throwing maybe comeback to CD? Do you feel like comfortable throwing that comeback to Gallup? Now, would you feel good if you had a third receiver in the middle, like Odell Beckham coming back to get that third down? You know, and then you got the Schultz, and you got Hendershot, or you got Ferguson, or you got Pollard. You got a lot of third down opportunities that are there, and adding another weapon. You know. Right. I like Noah Brown. I like Noah Brown more when like a guy like Cooper Rush is in there. That's where I look at him to shine more. Everybody has their role within this offense, and you know when the time comes for your time to shine, it's when it needs to go. And Noah Brown showed it. I mean, obviously his value is not extremely great right now, but that doesn't mean that doesn't change very quickly. If something was to happen, or in the sense that, hey, let's now that we're in a situation, you don't know what happens on the other side where maybe Dallas gets a big lead and okay, let's rest Dak, and now you got Rush coming in, and now Noah Brown's his guy. So everybody again has that role, but I do like where the tight ends are going. Again, I thought the safeties were going to have a little bit of more play as well. They were playing pretty well. I saw Curse go down for a moment. Nothing came out of that, I don't believe, right?
Yeah, well, he has a dislocated shoulder. He popped it back in.
Did he?
Back in the game.
Damn,
yeah,
he's a badass.
That's a tough guy.
Dude, he is, man. Fine, he's a lot bigger than I thought when I first went. I think it was this year, in the beginning of this year, when I saw him standing next to someone. I was like, man, Curse is tall. Like, I didn't realize he was as tall as he was, though.
Jack Meeker says Ferguson is going to be nasty after one season of strength and conditioning. Me and Phil liked Ferguson. So
as soon as he was drafted, I was like, "This is." Yeah, I was picking him in my mock drafts. That was my tight end. I liked Cole Turner as well, but I liked Ferguson because he could block.
Michael Dana, we don't need to go for it on fourth down early in the game. I hated that call. There was no need to do it, Mike. None. Jack Meeker, if Washington can help us even with a little, I'm good. Yeah, that's all I want. People act like, oh, we're getting James Washington back. We don't have room. Or like Cole says, we don't need OBJ. Yeah, you're right, Cole. We don't need him. Trust me, I understand that. But if we can get him.
Yeah, there's a difference between needing him and getting him, yeah.
I mean, what did he do for the Rams? He only averaged like 60 yards a game. But he had 5 touchdowns coming down the stretch. In the red zone, it's going to help you. It's going to help you on a third down.
Even in that Super Bowl.
Yesterday, when a team plays man up, not everybody can beat that, especially a younger receiver. You can't, you know what I mean? If you want to play man up and stuff the box, try and stop our run, which is what more people are going to try and do. Philly's going to try and do that. Philly's got really good cornerbacks. Wouldn't you rather have another threat that can beat a one-on-one off the line of scrimmage? Yes. So that's why I want him. Not so much for now, but for the playoff run, and hopefully after. So.
Yeah. Now I'm like reading some of these comments. You got Glimmerman saying,
"Yeah, go ahead, read them."
Yeah, Moore would abandon the run if OBJ came here, and you can understand that, but I don't. But when you look at the way that they used Cooper last year, I mean, he doesn't scheme people. He just has a system. So I can't, and it's really up to Dak whether he favors anybody within the system. So I could see where you could get that whole thing because that does totally make sense. Maybe wanting to use his toy. But I think with the way that this team has brought people on and kind of stuck them to the side and let them run on the bands and get them in for a drive and, you're hoping that maybe if that's the case, it's because he's kicking ass and that's the reason why they're going to him for so much. But but you still got guys like Gallup, you still got guys like CeeDee Lamb that thrive, having other people doing well within this offense too. And so, I think if anything, you take the hands a little bit out of Pollard's hands, because we know how Pollard can be out there, in the open field. So, only the ball can go around so much, but at the same time, it's, I like how when you look at these stats within this team, it's very spread out. You get 3 catches over here, 4 catches over there. It's not, this guy had 11, 13 catches while everybody else had 2 or 3.
But what I like, though, is what I've been calling for. I understand we want Dak to read the field and go with the open guy. That's great, but you want to have that guy. And I think for once, this is a stretch of games now where CeeDee's that guy. He's the go-to guy. He's making the plays. I think he's almost there. He's not quite there where Amari Cooper is, but Amari Cooper would disappear at times too. Sure, would he have big moments? Yes, he would, but he would disappear at times. He would be on the sideline on a third down. You're like, what's going on here? Or he just mentally would check out. Great receiver, but it's good to see that CD is getting to be that guy, and he's getting up.
He's definitely working his way to that status.
Yeah.
I just want to see the consistency when everybody knows you are the man for that game, and if you're still producing, I think that's what turns you into that number one. So I mean, obviously he's definitely going on that trajectory, and I think some of the drops definitely stick in our head a little bit more than some of those catches. But man, he was doing some amazing catches. The other day. So I got to give him credit for that.
It's just looking at the team as a whole. We're at a great spot. We're going to be favored in every game. I looked it up. Even as of right now, unless there's a major injury, we're a 3-point favorite against Philly. It could change a point here or there, but for the rest of the season, we're going to be a favorite. I don't know if we're going to need every game. I don't know how it's going to play out, but we can run the table. You would say, "Oh, well, you're crazy." Why would you say that? We are literally the favorite of every game. I'm worried more of the next game, not so much the Houston game, but I'm a little concerned about the next game because it's probably the next 2 games. But I think we're going to be Houston. I think we're going to be Indy. But it's one of those uncommon opponent, and it's like, what's going to happen? Are you going to come out fired up? You win the next 2, and then you go to Jacksonville, I think, and then you come home against the Eagles. I believe that's. Am I right, people? I think it's Indy.
So we got a Philly fan in here. Alana Walker says Dallas is a bunch of crying fans. Ask Stephen A. You don't see us crying. Okay, so right there, I love it. I love the trash talking, but that's probably not the guy you would want to go to for your source. Stephen A. That's the person you have as your backup.
Smith, he's doing that on purpose.
That's the backup. I love it. I love it.
He's doing it for ratings. Speaking of ratings, Alana, I'm glad you brought it up. 42 million viewers watched the Thanksgiving game.
How much of those do you think were actual
viewers. That's
fans?
The highest rated game ever for an NFL football game. So yeah, Alana, and that's haters alike. It's lovers and haters. We thank you.
No, I love the hate. Trust me, I'm all for that stuff. We don't cry on national television, they say.
42 million people, though, man. That's nuts, isn't it?
Yeah, that is insane. That's a lot of people.
The biggest
staying home, I guess.
It's the most watched game ever. You know what Jerry says, Alana? It doesn't matter if you love us or hate us, as long as
you turn us on.
Or watching and
those
comment.
Tolos, right? Turn them on, leave them on.
Turn it on, leave it on. Yeah, got that right.
So you can see what. You're hoping to hate. You're hoping to hate. That's okay. I like it. But
Haggerty,
but at the same time, there's a lot of people on, and I got to give the Giants credit in the sense of putting in a really good game with backups, and they've really with the picks that they've had, and it's definitely a team that's turning around. They're definitely getting better. I don't know if they're gonna jump and escalate even further, but they're definitely a good team that likes to scrap and get into it. I just like the fact that we swept them this year. And I
even got a DM from Cop Pizzle saying it'd be a good game by the Cowboys. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, man. Sorry it had to be that way. We like teased you at halftime.
So
Lana Walker, I was watching it too. Thanks, my
family is a Cowboys fan. So.
Oh, Alana.
You got to be the black sheep, huh?
That's gotta be rough on you. Sorry, Alana. I live in South Jersey, so everybody around here is Eagles fans. Everybody who knows me knows the deal. I've been a Cowboys fan since I was a little baby crawling around in my onesie. So, it's all good. It's all love.
Yeah, no, I really do. I have a lot of friends and stuff all through the NFC East. So I even had ones before with Arizona, and now Arizona's kind of like a distant memory. So I was like, man, I remember hating them a lot more before. And but yeah, I remember when they were in the whole division. And then when you go to explain sometimes to people with the whole division how it works, and I'm like, I don't know why Dallas is in the East. I mean, they should be in the South, but I didn't draw the lines. It's like.
Yeah, I'm the same way. You got Glimmerman. I think the Giants played a great game. They played with what they had. If I were the Giants, I would have tried to run the ball a little more.
Mm-hmm.
But I was surprised with the success they had thrown. I'm gonna stick with this. Daniel Jones with a good offensive line is a decent quarterback. He was off with a couple of his passes, but I think that has more to do with the pressure that we could put on him, and he knows. That one pass to Saquon was a little bit behind him, but if he catches that, that's a first down. That might be a touchdown. Still don't think it would have. It would have.
I thought it was a touchdown.
Of course, I thought it was a touchdown. The game, but I don't think it would have really changed the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
I think Dallas got on a roll. But again, man, that one call I don't understand going forward on our side of the field. That's a desperate team against in a situation where we didn't need to be desperate. But
yeah, when I even saw
OBJ,
that, like, yeah, go ahead. No, I was just gonna say when I was talking because you were talking about the game and the bad things. Like I was talking when I look back at those 2 turnovers. I mean, yeah, as Dak, it's like, you think the guy is offside, you think you're getting a flag, you throw that throw. Got a great job by the rookie corner by getting that. Gallup didn't see it coming as well too, kind of broke it, and they didn't call the flag. And then the second one where you kind of think CD's going to stop a little bit and like go for the ball, but he kind of just keeps floating past with the corner. Gets knocked up. It's one of those things. It's
yeah, I agree. Glimmerman, that was a touchdown. I'm playing I Love Weed in fantasy. And I'm going to get smoked, and I needed that touchdown. That was
a touchdown.
A touchdown. I'm sorry. Now, how they interpret the rule, it wasn't, but the rule is stupid. And even Stephen Jones said, if you have your toes out, I could see if you had your toe, then your heel in the white, then your other toe, then I could say, okay, that's not a catch. But if it's a toe, then a heel in the white, that should be a touchdown. Whoever, voted against that is stupid. Why are we taking great catches off the board when you had 2 toes? It's all right to have an ass cheek or like a forearm. That's okay, even though your whole body's out of bounds. But that's a touchdown. I don't understand. I don't understand the rule, but whatever. We won the game, so it's all good.
Yeah, so I'm just I think going forward is just consistency. I mean, the teams that you're supposed to beat, can you actually go out there and execute? It's really, again, each week it just seems like the people that they're really fighting against is themselves. And those dumb penalties and stuff. I mean, the referees only do so much. Yeah, they don't call everything, but at the same time, there's a lot of crap that's just going on that they need to clean up. And so if that shit doesn't happen, if they run their routes later on, well, or they block well, or they whatever. In general, they read the defense well as Dak Prescott. I think you don't have those type of plays dictating what the ball game could be. You saw how they can be if they just get it going. I mean, this again, when we look back at it, 13 turnovers, not 13 turnovers, 13 penalties. You got 2 turnovers. You have a terrible, very bad, just how they were moving it. Whether it was the play calling or whatever by Kellen Moore, it was just all out of sync. And so to come back out.
my question to you, Phil, though, with all those penalties, they didn't actually practice these 4 days, but maybe have another walkthrough. Maybe, do, go in the Star, in the Ford, like in the Ford Center in the indoor field, and run through your plays. I'm sure they do. How do you have all these pre-snap infractions? I don't understand.
The double motion, stuff like that. Yeah.
Come on, man, you're not practicing outdoors. You weren't practicing. You only had 4 days to prepare. Why can't you get the mental stuff down? It's time and time and time again. It's going to kill us one of these days.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. This is definitely not playoff type of football because those are going to kill you. Playoffs are sending you home. But again, to overcome the bad plays, and it was because of talent. I think talent at some point just shined in this game, and so that's what kind of ended up happening was that you had a better quarterback this time around than you had last time around playing, and you definitely saw the difference there too. It's like even if the bad play, it was still. Once they got going and got their footing. Once they got their footing, they destroyed it. I mean, it was just nice to watch them finally get going. And I think you didn't have the questions going out of the game. It's just, man, that first half was kind of just. I don't like seeing them come out all, just not.
I like
they didn't practice, and exactly like you're saying, they practice. Mm-hmm. Oh yes,
trying for them to defer. They actually deferred. Was good, and like I said, normally it works out good for us. Glimmerman said he cried when we lost to the Steelers in the '70s. Glimmerman, that's when I was a Cowboy fan. That was my first real remembrance as a kid. I had an older brother, so he was a big Cowboy fan. My father was a big Cowboy fan, so I remember the Steelers. I had talked about this before. That was my first experience. Those years and losing to the Steelers. So it's not like, hey, this guy just...
I became in the 80s.
The bandwagon.
Mine was the early 80s, and we were losing. We were losing.
Yeah, well, yes, you too. But my first experience was losing the big game back-to-back years. And then my whole adolescent life was nothing. And then that's when you started watching. And not until the early 90s.
Oh, my God.
Actually, until I went to Texas Stadium. I went to Texas Stadium for the first time in 92. So I take responsibility for why we started that whole winning streak. I was there in 92. I actually was at the Eagle game when McMahon, you guys remember when McMahon played for the quarterback for the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
He started the game. I remember that. So I was at that game, and you guys are welcome. So that's what started our 3 Super Bowl run right there. But yeah, man, that was tough, man. It's seeing them Steelers. Yeah, we got the ride high in the 90s. That's for sure, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember the move right before. I definitely do remember that Herschel Walker trade and the live, how it was, the reaction from it, how we looked like, they did. They looked like idiots. They looked like idiots.
I was telling Mark, I got to find this photo so he can make a print for me. It's a photo of Herschel Walker and Tony Dorsett doing sprints on the sideline, going right by me at the old Veterans Stadium. It was really cool. I mean, because they only played together, the 1 year?
Yeah.
But to see 33 and 34 working out together and doing little sprints, it was neat.
One of my favorite stories as a kid was when we were waiting to, I think, sign some fan stuff, and there was, an escalator part, and I think the escalator broke. And we just stayed there. I think it was, another 15 minutes or so. We were standing there. And all of a sudden, somebody from, the back just yells,
"Yeah,
walk!" And I swear, everybody starts moving. And I'm like, wait, are you serious? Was there somebody at the escalator, the very first stair, oh, man, I almost got there. Just kind of that sucks. Really? That one kind of was stuck. It had nothing to do with football. So that's kind of my memory from it. But, oh, man, great memory. I have not been to the new stadium.
I've been by there. I was at the Walmart parking lot right across the street this past June. We were looking at it. Mike Goldana, I missed the old Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas. Yeah, I remember going to the Corral. I've been there a couple times.
I don't miss those water spots during
thing was
rain.
everybody gathered before the game.
Like, remember when you saw those, like, you saw the water spots on the field as they're like, man, dang, like concrete underneath.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they miss it as
Jack,
much.
That was, yeah, Jack Meeker said, Brian, that's why I'm excited for Damone Clark. He's wearing Tony's number. Yeah, Tony Dorsett growing up, even to this day, and I loved Emmett. Emmett's my, come on, man. Who don't love Emmett, right? But
yeah.
Tony Dorsett will always be my favorite Cowboy running back. Just whatever it was, I was a little kid. The way he glided, he wore that big mouthpiece that always reminded me of like a binky, like a baby, a pacifier. It was just, I don't know, man. Like, Tony Dorsett's my guy.
And Jack Meeker's saying, he goes, that's why I like Damone Clark, because he's wearing number 33. I mean, Damone Clark making that thing look good too. He's causing some tackles. Like, I like it, man.
He's quietly saying, hello, Anthony Barr, just take your time, get fully healthy. Everybody's saying,
well, that's what I'm saying, man. Anthony Barr's going to be good depth.
Like, we're going to need him in the playoffs, but Damone Clark is showing you why he was a first-round pick if he didn't get hurt. Way better than that Nakobe Dean guy. Look at
you got to poke. You got to be like Cole's Cowboys, man. Cole's Cowboys always poking. Hey, man.
Come on, man.
What's your
That's how we got to keep it real. Robert Newhouse.
Yeah, the 99. Yeah, they're right. I love Wade. 99 run
man.
Against the Vikes. Go ahead.
My neighbor growing up was cousins with Anthony Newsom. Was it Anthony Newsom? Or no, Timmy Newsom.
Timmy Newsom.
Timmy Newsom, Glimmerman? I think it was Timmy Newsom. He was a running back too. I think Newhouse was the fullback, 44, correct? But yeah, he had 99-yard against the Vikings. I believe that was Monday night. I don't know, man. It just seemed like I missed that. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. I
miss the Hank Williams songs as well too.
Like I miss Irv Cross. I miss You're Looking Live at Sold Out Texas Stadium. Whatever. I just miss it. I miss the old NFL film music with the trumpets. There was something. It's just not the same.
Yeah, I remember. I remember. I used to watch the bloopers reel that they had as well each year. Bloop. Even Chris Berman, man, when he was doing that ESPN, and then whoop,
stumbling.
And then he can't go all the way.
Hey, well,
it just doesn't mean the same nowadays.
He was doing all the highlights in literally 10 minutes, 7 minutes. They're pretty damn impressive.
Yeah.
But let me get the latest to you guys before we get out of here. I know we're getting
we're getting off on this thing.
OBJ is visiting the Giants and Buffalo. Then he's visiting with Dallas. I believe it's December 2nd or 5th. I have to look at the dates, but it's early December. So what that tells me is that's a good thing. He's going to hear their pitches. Get their money, and then he's taking it to Dallas. And it's going to be up to Dallas. Now, I'm with Coles. I'm not going to give away the farm for the guy. If you really want to play here and it's close, you could pick us. But you're out, it's solely for the money, then we may not be your choice. I'm not saying I don't want him or don't pay him, but we'll see. Let's see what he's asking. Let's see what the other teams are offering. But
I just hope he has
a lot of talent to resign.
I just hope he has a smart enough agent to know that there's other things other than that. I mean, yes, you get that money.
Especially in Dallas.
You get the taxes are different. The taxes are different. Then you also you get think about the sponsorship that goes with all that as well. So I mean,
think about the job opportunities, the endorsements, everything with having a star on your helmet. I'm sorry, I know people hate to hear it, but you have a star on your helmet, you're pretty much guaranteed a job in the booth as long as you can speak and have somewhat of a personality.
That's why I felt sorry. That's why I felt sorry for Emmett. Like, as much as Emmett's great at talking football, I just never really felt like he could talk on the mic. I was like, poor guy. Like,
Emmett wasn't a I mean, put him on the dance floor. Even
that guy can rock like on the dance floor.
I don't think he should have won Dance with the Stars either. That's my guy. I'm glad he won, but I don't think he was the best that season. But hey, man, he won, so it's good. Brooklyn Joe, I made a stretcher by they made a stretcher by taking the door off the hinges, and Bradshaw got knocked out. I remember that. That's funny. Danny White, wish he won at least one. Yeah, Danny White. Um, I would say he was more. I was a huge Staubach fan, but I think Danny White from most of my adolescence until they got Aikman was the quarterback, and I agree. He was good enough to win a Super Bowl. He definitely was. Mark Hutchin, Odell Beckham hasn't been released to play yet. Looking towards the end of December. Yeah.
Yeah,
but I like how it's working out.
Even if we get him now, it's just like it just wouldn't be until a later thing, and it would just be the weapon. Oh my God, we got to worry about something. You know? And that's what it would be. It'd be next year more than anything, because how it is after the year before, and So I mean, maybe the threat, having him on the field, maybe pulling some coverages. I think there's definitely some benefits to having him, but I definitely think it would be more of a future move as well, and hoping that. The money. I think the money, you need to just make sure that you have the money for guys later on in the future, like Parsons, Diggs.
What's the latest with the TV contract? I'm hearing now there's multiple outlets. Listen, the salary cap. Now maybe Mark, he's Mr. Numbers. Him and his brother Rod. Mark, what's the projected? I mean, how much are they saying that this TV deal is going to up the cap? It's going to go so high, Phil, that I think we're going to be able to keep anybody we want, and that's not even counting restructuring guys that we didn't really have to restructure. I don't think we're not going to be able to get anybody we don't really want. I think Zeke's going to come back on a more team-friendly deal, and. Let's see about Pollard. I think Schultz is probably gone, but that's more of a choice rather than. I think that's more of a choice than. Oh my God, that's what happened.
We can't keep him. Oh my God, we couldn't pay him enough.
We have some good guys in the fold, but I don't even want to be negative now. Let's just roll this year, and we'll worry about the off season and talk all that stuff after the year. See, what do we got? So we put him on the field during the Super Bowl for the
be like T.O., man.
He can't play, really. Well, I think.
All right, man. You just stand right there. We prop him up against somebody,
Yeah, right. Hey, it almost worked for T.O.
It did, man.
For Philly, right? That what happened?
Yeah, exactly.
If it wasn't for
Roy
the Eagles quarterback puking in a huddle, they probably would have won
that. Look at you. Again, poke. So, again, when are we going to be back? So, when's the next game? Can we look up real quick when the next game is going to be?
Well, we're going to be back next Saturday.
We'll be next Saturday. Maybe we'll do something before then as these games clear out, just to kind of
maybe that's up to you, my man. That's what you're the busy guy.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of he's gonna get that time of season. You're gonna be even busier. So.
Yeah. Let's talk real quick about the other two, the NFC East games.
Let's do it.
You got the Commanders that are home tomorrow, -4 against Atlanta. I think Commanders win that. I think Commanders are for real with their defense. I think they win that game.
Man, I was so close to that upset with Bills. I was so close.
I know. And the Eagles tomorrow night are -6.5 versus the Packers. That'll be interesting because the Packers beat us. They won their Super Bowl. Saw Aaron Rodgers.
And now they just don't.
Running around the field like he's. I thought I heard him say he's going to Disney World or something. I don't know. And then they shit the bed this past week. So what are they going to do this? Are they going to give the Eagles a game? I don't.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Which Packers team is going to show up? Yeah, I think that's what it is.
I think the Eagles win that game.
I think so too. As
well. But you
never know.
Then I guess So
no, and as you were talking about as well last week, or not last week, but we were talking about that Eagles, right afterward, you were talking about Sirianni, where this whole thing with the crowd, that one's for Frank Wright. I like how he dedicated the win 2 seconds after, when nobody was even looking at, what was he talking about?
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, where are you leading up? Where's that guy that was, the shirts and everything leading up to the game? Maybe I'm going to win this for Frank Wright. That whole thing, but his whole, you dedicate, this was 2 seconds after it. And even the people there were like, "What's he talking about?" Like, so I mean,
the dude is like he's like a fan. He's like a schoolboy who is coaching a professional team and acting like a goofball. I mean, just keep your mouth shut, dude. I don't understand why you
let your play do it. Let your play
Mike
do it.
McCarthy will beat your ass with one hand behind his back. You know, he's just like one of those dudes.
Well, it's just one of those things. I mean, we're not looking at like, what happens if Jacksonville comes in, smacks us in the mouth, we barely beat them by a point. Are we bragging? Oh yeah, we just destroyed. No, man. Like you gotta wonder what the hell's going on. You have to put in your head that, hey man, there's a problem possibility, right here, and if teams focus on that, that could be an issue later on. But no, hey man, we got the best everything, and we don't got to worry about it. We'll just plug in some holes with people that don't know our scheme or anything like that, and hoping that's going to be the solve. I thought they were great signs. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is what I want to do. Eagles, I just want to run down because we know like what we're looking at. We got our win on Thursday, then we are, look, we know what we are. We are home against Indy, home against Houston, at Jacksonville. And then I believe, right? And then home against the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
So we can, like I said, but the Eagles schedule. Check this out. Eagles schedule. Okay. Eagles host the Packers tomorrow night. We think they're, listen, anything can happen. It's prime time, but I think they win that game. If they don't, that's even better. But they host the Packers. Then the following week they host the Titans. Now, they're playing these tough games at home. We have to go to Tennessee. Okay, but that's not that easy of a game. And then they have a 3-game road stretch at the Giants, at the Bears, which everybody wants to talk shit about the Bears. If Justin Fields is playing in that game, they are one physical team.
Yeah.
And then at the Cowboys. They play at the Cowboys at the tail end of a 3-game road coming off of Chicago. That physical team. Come on. And then you're home against the Saints, home against the Giants to end the year. That's not that easy. There's a couple losses there. There definitely is. And if one's against us and we can run the table, we're going to be favorites for the rest of the year. I think Titans are going to be the Eagles game at home, and at the Titans are going to be the hardest game.
Yeah.
I think other than that, I think it's not that much of a stretch.
No, and I agree. Anyway, are we going to get in our own little way? Consistency is the key. Will Kellen Moore get in his own little way and go back to old habits?
I agreed, Weed. I agree.
I think it's our defense. Our defense keeps us in the
plays.
What's that?
Yeah. No, I love we said as Justin Fields plays, Bears win. I saw them. It's going to be freezing in that field. It's going to be freezing. You're not going to be able to, you're going to throw the ball over the field. You're going to have Jalen Hurts run in that frozen field. That's going to be freezing out there in Chicago. Telling you, they're in for some trouble. Let's not choke and not pay attention to the Colts and the Texans, and I think we're going to be fine.
Yeah, I think that's what I want to see. I want to see them come out and actually take these games serious. Like they're, you got to take them like, hey man, they are still competitive teams. They still got a good defense. I mean, it's just their offense. Yeah. Again, it's very questionable. But, hey, as long as you got a running back, and that's one thing that they do have is a running back. So, I mean, again, I want to see some consistency even within this defense of stopping the run, maybe being committed to stopping the run, because obviously we understand what we have in our pass rush, and we understand that that's our strength. But we really definitely need, how strong are we? Our weakest link. And our weakest link is definitely the run game. And I just like to see some more consistency. Consistency is the theme going forward. And I definitely didn't see it this game, but then I saw him pop right back on. So fixing it as well. I think that's something that I can agree with this. They do a very good job in the second half of changing their game plan and adapting. Kellen Moore, I think it may be other people helping him, but hey, I like how they do. It does seem like a different team when they come out. You want to say anything going before we get out of here?
That's it. I think we covered it. Just to touch on a couple of last things, like Alana Walker. Y'all don't care how many points y'all win. A win is a win, right? We play some of the same teams.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
agree, Alana. A win is a win. That's
yeah,
all.
that's really what it is.
I really listen. It's all. It's really what it comes down to. I'm just saying. I think the Eagles' schedule is interesting. Um, like down the stretch, it's not the easiest. And listen, it's going to come down to this: if the Eagles beat Dallas in Dallas, then you guys deserve the division. But I think if you lose that game, I think Dallas wins the division. That's just my opinion. But at the end of the day, it really don't matter if we win a division. If we're not ready to play or healthy at playoff time, it don't matter. Yep. Like the Eagles can win a division. The only thing you get is whoever wins our division is going to get that bye, most likely.
Yep.
Unless Minnesota just keeps winning. But that's it for me. So, yeah, just stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll let you guys know.
Me and Phil will talk about possibly putting something in
in the middle of the week
later in the week. But, we'll see.
But I appreciate all you guys coming over. I even appreciate Alana coming over here and talking some trash. I definitely
Thanks,
always
Alana. Nice to see you.
Always welcome that
welcome.
stuff. And of course, our people that represent each time: JoJo, Angelica, I Love We,
Mary,
Jack Meeker.
Dan,
I could go on
and
on. You got Brooklyn Joe. You got
Brooklyn
there's
Joe.
So many guys like
Glimmerman,
Mark Hudson.
Everybody.
Right? You said that guy. Yeah. So I mean. There's a lot, and I apologize if I definitely left your name out there as well too. I appreciate you guys on the replay as well. Anybody that's finding us for the first time, definitely hit that subscribe button. I appreciate it a lot. Game Time Bryan with me. I appreciate you, man, and we'll get back to you later in the week. But thank you for joining us. But don't forget to always ring that bell.
Hey, we know each other. He's a friend from work.
What you do? You're like a little screw loose type of guy, and that's how I am. So I'm digging it, big guy. I am.
Who are you?
You.
No, not me, you.
Yes, I am you.
Just answer the damn questions. Who are you?
Game Time Bryan, otherwise known as the mailman here.
Cool name. Superpowers?
Broadcasting from the illustrious Jobu Studio.
Come on, are you going to tell me who that is?
Primetime Phil, and of course my co-host, Game Time Bryan.
Oh, Jesus Christ, this place is going to explode. $100,000, I don't even need to hear it.